Joining us now live, Newt Gingrich, of course, former Speaker of the House and a Fox News contributor. Good morning, Mr. Speaker.
Good morning.
So was the big winner Klobuchar? Was it Sanders, Buttigieg, or Trump?
Well, I mean, the biggest winner last night was Trump for a lot of different reasons. His rally the night before was massive. The turnout for him was, I think he got about twice as many votes as Barack Obama got in his re-election effort in the primary back in 2012. And he has the joy of watching the Democrats continue to fall apart. You know, you just reported a minute ago, or somebody did, that we haven't even got the final results in Iowa, and we just finished New Hampshire. Now, I mean, this is a level, and now we're going to go into Nevada, which sounds suspiciously like it could become Iowa. This is a party which wants to run the national health system, and they can't run a state caucus. So I think that's interesting. I personally think that Amy Klobuchar is probably the most attractive candidate the Democrats have. She's a moderate by their standards, a liberal by our standards, but she's not irrational. She is a disciplined person. She's done very well in Minnesota. Her challenge is when you get beyond the first two states, which are relatively small, it gets more and more and more expensive. And by the time you get to Super Tuesday with California, Texas, et cetera, it's just hard for me to see how Senator Klobuchar can raise that level of money. Sanders can. Sanders is the one Democrat who can compete head-to-head with Bloomberg and slug it out financially. But I'm not sure that Klobuchar can. What she did do is she eliminated Elizabeth Warren. By coming in ahead of Warren in Warren's backyard, I think that means that Warren at some point, whether Nevada, South Carolina, at some point in the near future, Warren's rational enough that she'll get out of the race.
So play out your thought. If Warren gets out soon and at least some or most of her supporters go to Bernie Sanders, he may have an even bigger head of steam. You say Klobuchar is doing well, but you're skeptical that she can keep it going. What about Bloomberg and what about Joe Biden? Is he finished?
Well, Biden is, look, the other day when the vice president referred to a college student as a dog-faced pony soldier, I thought that was a bad sign. I just think you're watching a guy at the end of his career gradually breaking down, doing goofy things, and I think at some point there'll probably be a family intervention and they'll explain to him, you know, this ain't going to happen, and we need to just relax and go home. That probably can't happen until after South Carolina, but again, Biden has this as a worse problem in terms of money. Klobuchar is just on the way up. She's going to raise a lot of money. And remember, if Warren gets out of the race, Klobuchar is the only woman in the race. So you have a Democratic Party which treasures the idea of diversity, which is about to be a bunch of old white guys plus Buttigieg. And, you know, I guess Buttigieg, as a gay guy who's married, can say he represents a kind of diversity, but I don't think that's going to satisfy either minorities or women. And I think that gives Klobuchar a little bit of an extra hook. So she'll be raising more money. Biden will be raising steadily less money. And I don't see how Biden gets through Super Tuesday without just being humiliated.
So we'll put you down as someone who thinks using dog-faced liar late in the campaign is probably a bad sign. Let's move on to Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker.
It wasn't dog-faced liar. It was dog-faced pony soldier. Now tell me, I mean, there was a 1952 movie with Tyrone Power called The Pony Soldier. But other than that, I mean, where does this guy get this stuff?
Right. I want to quickly get to Nancy Pelosi. She's got your old job. She had that back and forth with the president around the State of the Union, ripping up the papers and the like. But now there's a Politico headline that caught her attention. With impeachment in rear view, Pelosi looks to her next attack on the president, eager to hammer home the message the economy is not actually as strong as Trump claims. It goes on to say the pressure for Democrats to get the message right on the economy comes as Trump enters the throes of his reelection with the highest approval ratings at any time of his presidency. His approval rating now stands at 49%, leaving him virtually unshaken by an election scandal that would likely sink any other president. Mr. Speaker, how do Democrats try to craft an attack against this president on a good economy?
Well, I'm actually surprised she's doing that. I mean, this is like picking a granite mountain and running head on into it with your head. They could have a good fight on health care. That makes some sense. They could have a good fight on education reform. But to go after President Trump in what has been a remarkable period where, I forget the most recent Gallup poll numbers, but something like 65% of all Americans feel like they have more money, they're better off. To run in and say to them, no, you're too stupid to understand how bad the economy is, doesn't strike me as very good salesmanship. But Pelosi is after Biden, is the second most whacked person in the senior Democratic leadership. I mean, anybody who thinks that tearing up the State of the Union is clever, I think is really deeply out of touch with reality. And this new attack on the economy will be the same.
Yep. Mr. Speaker, covered a lot of ground today. We certainly appreciate you coming in. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.